Bangladesh riots. Prime Minister flees 20 strange facts about the world's poorest and dirtiest country. On August 5th, riots erupted in Bangladesh, leading to Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina being forced to resign and flee to India. The country experienced a wave of arson attacks, looting, and over 1,000 prisoners escaped from Bangladeshi jails. The US government has even advised against traveling to this country. In addition to its unstable and fragile politics, Bangladesh is associated with the label dirty, being known as the dirtiest country in the world, with the dirtiest food, the dirtiest rivers, and the dirtiest profession being sewer cleaning. There are also unusual customs such as shared husbands and attacks on having multiple wives. Let's explore 20 strange facts about Bangladesh. Number 20. The 200-year-old brothel street in Bangladesh. Bangladesh is one of the few Islamic countries where prostitution is considered a legal profession. Tangail district is home to the Kandapara brothel, known as the second largest brothel in the country, which has existed for 200 years. It's estimated that 20% of Bangladeshi women marry before the age of 15, and only 25% complete secondary education. The right to choose is a luxury for Bangladeshi women. It's estimated that 10,000 women and girls are involved in prostitution in Bangladesh, but less than 10% do so voluntarily. An investigative report by The Observer found that hundreds of girls are sold into brothels by strangers, family members, or husbands without their consent. In addition to the street-based prostitutes, over 5,000 women and girls work in 11 brothels nationwide. Some brothels have been operating for hundreds of years, are registered with local authorities, and are monitored by the police. Although the brothel district was destroyed in 2014, many women who grew up there had no other place to go or means of livelihood, so it was restarted with the help of local NGOs. Adult entertainers in Bangladesh are not treated as ordinary citizens. They lack human rights, often come from impoverished areas, and are frequently victims of human trafficking. They are owned by madams, work hard to repay debts, and are not allowed to go outside or keep the money they earn. According to the law, girls must be at least 18 to start working, but most of them are underage. Many use oradexin, a drug used by farmers to fatten animals to look older and healthier. The most vulnerable stage is when a young girl enters a brothel, typically between 12 and 14 years old. Many adult entertainers here even have boyfriends, or in other words, regular customers. Some are even asked to marry, but they often choose to continue living as prostitutes for financial independence. Number 19. The strange custom of shared husbands in Bangladesh. In Bangladesh, a very peculiar custom still exists. According to the Mandi tribe's tradition, a matrilineal tribe living in the highlands of Bangladesh and India, the mother and daughter marry the same man when the mother remarries. Many tragicomic stories have arisen from this love triangle. Young girls of the Mandi tribe, victims of this arranged marriage system, are struggling to escape this custom. The man in question must be a virgin and is typically a young man. The second wife will serve and care for the husband, even performing marital duties when the girl reaches puberty. According to the Mandi, having a daughter marry the same man as her mother has two benefits. First, a young woman will help the husband's family produce more children. Second, having both mother and daughter share the same husband means that the mother will hold all the power in the family, while the daughter will help protect the family's assets and take over the authority when the mother passes away. Most couples worldwide recognize that marriage involves not just love but also responsibilities and financial obligations. The Mandi are no exception. Any marriage following this custom leads to the mother and daughter becoming adversaries, maintaining a facade of civility while harboring resentment. As the daughters reach puberty, husbands often neglect the older wives, focusing solely on the younger wife. This causes the older wives to feel angry and jealous of their own daughters, who have now become their husbands' wives. What do you think about this custom? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Number 18. The death penalty for non-consensual sexual activity offenses. In Bangladeshi society, victims of non-consensual sexual activity are often seen as dishonorable and are stigmatized by the community. Bangladeshi children are also becoming victims. A report released by the Bangladesh Shishu Adhikar Forum revealed that at least 496 children were raped in Bangladesh during the first 6 months of 2019. In 2019, the head of a religious school was arrested for allegedly raping 2 girls and molesting 6 other female students. Earlier, police had arrested a teacher for raping a student in Fatula. Two high school teachers in Narayanganj were accused of molesting 20 students. In a 2020 report, the human rights group Aino Salish Kendra stated that nearly 1,000 women were raped in Bangladesh during the first 9 months of the year, with 1/5 of these cases involving gang rape. 43 out of 975 victims died after the attacks. In response to this situation, the government has enacted a law stipulating that anyone convicted of rape will face either the death penalty or life imprisonment. Number 17. Riots in Bangladesh. Bangladesh has been in turmoil since protests erupted in July, led by student groups opposing the government job quota system. The protests escalated into a movement demanding the resignation of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina after 15 years in power, eventually leading to riots that resulted in over 400 deaths. The crisis in Bangladesh stems from socio-economic issues, including stagnation in private sector job growth. The Bangladeshi economy has been severely impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. The garment industry, a driving force of the economy and accounting for more than 80% of the country's $55 billion annual export revenue, has been heavily devastated. Factories have closed, resulting in at least a quarter of the workforce losing their jobs. Early in her tenure, Hasina contributed to the revival of the country's economy, transforming Bangladesh from a poor nation into one of the fastest-growing economies in the world. Since 2008, Bangladesh has achieved an average annual growth rate of over 6%. Living standards have significantly improved, poverty has decreased dramatically, and more than 95% of the 170 million people have access to electricity. However, the challenges arising from the COVID-19 pandemic have severely impacted Bangladesh's economic health. Recently, Bangladesh has faced high inflation, unstable exchange rates, and dwindling foreign reserves. The situation escalated when the quota system prioritizing employment for the children of military personnel was reinstated, sparking outrage among the people of Bangladesh. According to this policy, Bangladesh allocates more than half of the recruitment quotas for privileged groups, such as the children of veterans from the 1971 Liberation War against Pakistan. Critics argue that this plan only benefits the offspring of supporters of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's government. Protesters engaged in numerous violent actions, including setting fire to a television station building and dozens of vehicles parked outside. The station's director later reported that all staff had evacuated the building. Witnesses said hundreds were injured when police used tear gas and rubber bullets to disperse the crowd. Protesters also burned about a dozen vehicles at the entrance to the National Disaster Response Agency. Approximately 60 police officers were rescued by helicopter after being trapped on the roof of the Canadian University campus, where some of the most severe clashes occurred in Dhaka. As night fell, internet access in Bangladesh was almost completely shut down due to the recent riots. Although the Prime Minister fled to India on August 5th, the riots have not ceased. After Prime Minister Hasina resigned and left Bangladesh, her residence in the capital Dhaka was looted by rioters. Arson and looting occurred across the country. Bangladesh Army Chief Waqar-uz-Zaman called for the public to adhere to law and order and announced the formation of a provisional government. What are your thoughts on these protests? Please share your opinions below. Number 16. Avoid traveling to Bangladesh right now. In recent months, the situation in Bangladesh has become uncontrollable. Nearly 300 people have died after the Bangladeshi government attempted to suppress protests with force. The interim government led by 84-year-old Muhammad Yunus has the task of restoring normalcy in Bangladesh. However, Yunus has no intention of seeking any elected or appointed positions beyond his role as chief advisor during the interim period. Although Yunus had previously stated that he would seek cooperation from all stakeholders in rebuilding Bangladesh. Several countries, including Canada, France, India, Japan, and the USA, have advised their citizens to avoid non-essential travel to conflict-ridden Bangladesh. The US Department of State has raised its travel advisory for Bangladesh to level 4, do not travel. The US Embassy in Bangladesh has advised its citizens not to travel to Bangladesh due to civil unrest, crime and terrorism, and the potential limitation of emergency services for US citizens in Bangladesh. These restrictions are due to travel difficulties, lack of infrastructure, and the local government's emergency response resources. Due to security concerns, US embassy staff in Bangladesh are required to follow certain travel and movement restrictions. Additionally, the US Department of State has instructed non-emergency US government employees and their family members to depart Bangladesh voluntarily. What do you think about the situation in Bangladesh? Please share your thoughts below. Number 15. Prison breaks. According to Bangladeshi officials on August 10th this year, due to political instability, there have been at least 3 prison breaks in the country since former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina resigned and left the country. Nearly 1,000 prisoners have escaped. On August 8th, a group of inmates at the Jamapur prison in northern Dhaka suddenly attacked the guards. The inmates used iron rods and sharp weapons. They set fire to the office and subsequently led all 600 prisoners to escape. Earlier on August 6th, another prison break occurred at Kashimpur prison in northern Dhaka. This prison houses some of Bangladesh's most dangerous and notorious criminals, including extremist Islamic militants and murderers. Warden Luftar Rahman stated that the prisoners also used iron and steel tools to attack the guards. The prisoners then surged towards the prison's main gate, forcing soldiers and guards to open fire. 6 prisoners were shot dead. At least 203 prisoners escaped. Additionally, on August 5th, when Hasina announced her resignation, more than 500 prisoners escaped from a prison in Sherpur district, northern Bangladesh. The situation in the country is currently extremely chaotic. How do you feel about this? Please share your thoughts below. Number 14. Widespread child marriage. According to a recent report by Human Rights Watch, this South Asian country has the 4th highest rate of child marriage in the world, with 29% of girls marrying before age 15 and 65% before age 18. Reports from Bangladeshi provinces indicate that child marriage forces girls to face many health risks, such as pregnancy at a very young age, domestic violence due to age disparity, and an increased likelihood of poverty. Girls from lower socioeconomic backgrounds and poor families have a child marriage rate twice as high. However, poverty and traditional practices, along with concerns about daughters facing harassment, are the main reasons persuading many parents to marry off their daughters early. They believe they are doing what is best for their daughters. After all, a married girl is safer, is a common belief. Another major reason for this tragic situation is the perception among poor communities that women's earning potential is negligible compared to men's and that they are a burden on the family. Therefore, in a marriage, the bride's family often has to pay a large dowry to the groom's family. The dowry is smaller if the bride is younger. If the bride's family cannot provide the full dowry, 15-year-old brides often suffer severe abuse from the groom's family. Particularly, disputes over dowries have led to thousands of girls under 18 being attacked with acid each year, leaving them with physical and emotional scars that never heal. Additionally, local officials also facilitate child marriage. They are bribed by the bride's and groom's families and falsify birth certificates to increase the girls' ages. As a result, the dream of enjoying a childhood like other children around the world remains a distant hope for many Bangladeshi girls. Number 13. Tax for having multiple wives. Although polygamy is legally permitted, since 2006, all Bangladeshi men who marry additional wives are required to pay a tax known as the wife tax. The amount increases with each additional wife: $78 for a second wife, $234 for a third wife, and $312 for a third wife, and $312 for a fourth wife. Many women's rights organizations have praised the wife tax because it discourages many, especially in impoverished rural areas, from marrying additional wives due to the inability to pay the tax. Bangladesh is a Muslim-majority country. While Islamic law permits polygamy, many families still practice it. In many cities, people have opted for monogamy. However, in some mountainous regions, polygamous families are still common. In 2012, Senegalese President Abdoulaye Wade passed a new constitution introducing several women's rights reforms but refused to abolish polygamy, arguing that it's a traditional custom that cannot be banned. If you had the money, how many wives would you want in Bangladesh? Comment below. Number 12. Must declare virginity on marriage documents. According to marriage laws in this South Asian country with a 90% Muslim population, brides must choose one of 3 options on the marriage registration form: Kumari, virgin, widow, or divorced. Human rights groups have criticized this term, which has been on marriage registration forms since 1961, for being insulting and discriminatory and violating women's privacy. In 2014, human rights groups filed a petition with the court to change this provision in the 1974 Muslim Marriage and Divorce Act of Bangladesh. The ruling also required authorities to provide options for unmarried, widowed, and divorced for grooms. According to Fox News, the Bangladeshi Supreme Court ruled in 2019 that the term virgin or Kumari in Bengali would be replaced with unmarried. Aside from replacing virgin with unmarried, the other two terms remain unchanged. Number 11. The dirtiest job in the world. Sewer cleaning in Bangladesh is considered one of the most grueling and dirty jobs in the world. The pay is extremely low, but workers must operate in unsanitary conditions with many sources of easily transmissible diseases. Dhaka frequently suffers from heavy rains, and its old, deteriorated drainage system leads to frequent flooding. Sewer cleaners are not provided with any protective gear and must wade through dark, polluted water to clear blockages. The scene is horrifying to many, but it's a daily routine for these workers in Bangladesh. Without protective equipment, breathing in dirty water, and even ingesting waste is a common occurrence for these workers. Despite many sewer cleaners dying from disease each year in Dhaka, workers like those in the image are still unprotected while on the job. What do you think about this job? Please share your thoughts below. Number 10. Horrible food quality. Like neighboring India, Bangladesh has incredibly poor food quality that shocks visitors. Unsanitary conditions and contaminated ingredients have cast a shadow over the eating habits of the urban middle class and the poor in Dhaka in recent years. A 2017 tourism study revealed that 600,000 city residents consume street food from thousands of vendors daily. It's believed that street food in Bangladesh is not prepared with adequate hygiene. Experts are concerned about the potential for foodborne pathogens, given that the food is sold outdoors in a dirty city, and the preparation and serving processes are not always sanitary. Street vendors use unsafe water for food preparation and reuse water when serving customers, making people more susceptible to various illnesses. Dhaka residents are at high risk of intestinal diseases such as diarrhea, cholera, and typhoid, partly due to unsanitary street food. Street foods like sliced fruit, jalmuri, chotpoti, vajavuji, akar, sharbat, and ice cream in Dhaka are highly contaminated with Escherichia coli. The National Hygiene Survey by the Bangladesh Bureau of Statistics shows that only 63% of food service workers and 68% of cooks in various restaurants and street food outlets wash their hands with soap during work hours. Have you ever tried the food here? And what did you think? Please share your thoughts. Number 9. Deplorable living conditions. Bangladesh frequently faces devastating natural disasters such as cyclones and river erosion. These disasters force thousands of families to lose their homes and livelihoods, compelling them to migrate to urban areas, especially Dhaka, in search of survival opportunities. However, cities like Dhaka, already overcrowded and lacking in housing, cannot accommodate this massive influx of migrants. This has led to a rapid increase in informal settlements, also known as slums. Living conditions in these slums are extremely poor. Makeshift homes are constructed from bamboo, plastic, or recycled materials and lack basic amenities such as clean water, sanitation, and drainage systems. Many families live cramped in small, poorly lit, and poorly ventilated spaces. The lack of infrastructure and poor living conditions lead to numerous social issues in the slums. Crime rates, drug abuse, and domestic violence are much higher compared to other areas. Children often have to leave school to work or are exploited. Recognizing the severity of the homelessness and poverty crisis, the Bangladeshi government and non-governmental organizations have coordinated efforts to address the issue. Its initiatives to improve living conditions in slums, build affordable housing, develop skills, and provide social welfare programs have been implemented. Number 8. The dirtiest country in the world. Bangladesh has been ranked as the most air-polluted country in the world according to the 2023 World Air Quality Index. The capital, Dhaka, is frequently shrouded in thick fog due to fine dust and other pollutants. Air pollution causes severe health issues, including cardiovascular diseases, respiratory problems, and cancer. It also impacts the economy by reducing labor productivity and increasing healthcare costs. Transportation is the largest source of pollution in Bangladesh, primarily due to old diesel motorcycles and buses. Additionally, industrial factories, especially brick kilns and power plants, contribute significantly to dust pollution. Farmers often burn straw after harvest, which increases the level of fine dust in the air. rapid construction projects in Bangladesh also generate substantial amounts of dust. The government has implemented emissions regulations for vehicles and factories, but enforcement remains limited. Moreover, the government is investing in the development of public transportation systems to reduce the use of motorcycles and diesel buses. Number 7. Dead, dirty and black rivers. The foundation of Bangladesh's remarkable economic growth in recent years has been the booming garment trade, serving global fast fashion giants with millions of women and accounting for about 80% of the country's $50 billion annual export revenue. However, environmentalists argue that with the growth of the garment industry, Bangladesh has paid an immeasurable price as toxic dyes, tanning acids, and other hazardous chemicals have contaminated water sources. Dhaka, the capital of Bangladesh, was established on the banks of the Baraganga River over 400 years ago by the Mughal Empire. However, the river is now the country's largest drainage ditch. For centuries, people built homes along the riverbank to enjoy the river breeze. Today, the toxic sludge smell in winter is so awful that people have to cover their noses when they approach it. According to a 2020 report by the River Research Institute of the Bangladesh government, water samples from the Baraganga River show chromium and cadmium levels 6 times higher than the World Health Organization's recommended limits. Both of these elements are used in tanning, and excessive exposure to either is extremely harmful to human health. Chromium is a carcinogen, and long-term exposure to cadmium causes lung damage, kidney disease, and premature birth. In Shampu, one of the large industrial areas around Dhaka, locals report that at least 300 local factories are discharging untreated wastewater into the Baraganga River. Residents say they no longer complain about the foul smell of the water because they know that businesses violating regulations are easily able to evade responsibility. Number 6. Large wealth gap. Did you know that Bangladesh is one of the poorest countries in the world, with 31.5% of its population, about 50.7 million people, living below the poverty line? This number is more than double Australia's population. Poverty in Bangladesh affects not just material well-being, but also health, education, and development opportunities. The wealth gap in Bangladesh is also alarming. According to the World Bank in 2010, the poorest 20% of the population controlled only 8.9% of the country's total wealth, while the richest 20% held 41.5%. The primary reason is that, while Bangladesh's economy has grown rapidly in recent years, the benefits of this growth have not been evenly distributed. The wealthy tend to benefit more than the poor. The poor often lack access to quality education and healthcare, leading to limited development opportunities and lower income prospects. Additionally, Bangladesh's tax system is inefficient, allowing the wealthy to avoid taxes while the poor face a heavier tax burden. Bangladesh is also frequently hit by natural disasters such as floods and cyclones, which destroy homes and livelihoods, pushing people further into poverty. Addressing income inequality in Bangladesh requires efforts from the government, non-governmental organizations, and society as a whole. By implementing appropriate measures, Bangladesh can work towards a more equitable and prosperous future for everyone. Number 5. Shipbreaking is the most dangerous job in the world. Bangladesh is a leader in shipbreaking, holding over 1/3 of the global market share. This industry plays a crucial role in the Bangladeshi economy, generating thousands of jobs and earning billions of dollars annually. Chittagong, Bangladesh's second-largest port city, is dubbed the ship graveyard, with over 80 shipbreaking yards stretching along a 13-kilometer coastline. The shipbreaking process in Bangladesh is complex and hazardous. Workers, mostly men, handle the dismantling of ships without protective gear, despite the significant health and safety risks. However, this work provides them with income and helps them escape poverty. The shipbreaking industry also has negative environmental impacts. The dismantling process often leads to oil spills, hazardous chemical releases, and water pollution. Additionally, metal dust and emissions from shipbreaking yards affect the health of residents. Currently, Bangladesh offers the lowest cost for shipbreaking, but it also experiences the highest number of severe workplace accidents. According to statistics from non-governmental organizations in Bangladesh, around 20 workers die on average each year, with hundreds more injured due to falls, heat stroke, metal injuries, and fires. Furthermore, workers are paid low wages and lack basic labor rights. Bangladeshi labor experts acknowledge that many shipbreaking yards do not have formal salary structures, leave benefits or medical care, and often lack safety equipment. Most workers work 12-hour shifts every day of the week, rotating between day and night shifts. What do you think about this profession? Please share your opinions. Number 4. Most of Bangladesh's exports come from the textile industry. Bangladesh is one of the world's top exporters of textile products. The export value of these items accounts for up to 85% of the country's total annual export revenue of $55 billion. There are currently around 3,500 textile factories in Bangladesh, producing clothing for many top global fashion brands such as Zara, Levi's, and H&M. A large portion of the population is engaged in agriculture, which is often seasonal and susceptible to natural disasters. With a young population, the country has a plentiful and low-cost labor force, attracting global corporations and industries, especially in the textile sector. Bangladesh is now the second largest exporter of clothing in the world, just behind China. However, the living conditions of the 4 million workers in the industry are still challenging. Many workers currently earn only the minimum wage of 12,500 taka, which is just over $100 per month. Consequently, there have been numerous protests and strikes demanding higher wages and better working conditions. Concerns about labor safety and workers' rights are frequently raised, especially following the 2013 Rana Plaza factory collapse. Additionally, the textile industry also causes significant environmental pollution. Number 3. The rickshaw capital. Dhaka, the capital of Bangladesh, is located on a branch of the Daleswari River in the Ganges-Brahmaputra Delta. With a population of over 12 million people living on both sides of the Baraganga River, Dhaka is considered the largest city in Bangladesh and one of the most densely populated cities in the world. What attracts tourists to apply for a visa to Bangladesh might be the nickname rickshaw capital of the world. The city earns this title because about 400,000 rickshaws operate here daily, and rickshaws remain the king of transportation in the old quarters, where only rickshaws can navigate the narrow and winding streets. Using this rudimentary mode of transport is also an essential part of daily life for the people here. Number 2. Bustling traffic system. Entering the bustling urban centers of Bangladesh, visitors are immediately overwhelmed by the vibrancy and chaos that define daily life. The blaring horns amidst the traffic congestion in Dhaka, the colorful stalls of street vendors in markets all create a lively and energetic scene. Traffic is one of the biggest challenges in Bangladeshi cities. Roads are often clogged with rickshaws, bicycles, cars, buses, and taxis. The public transportation system is inefficient, with old and overcrowded buses. Rickshaws, though environmentally friendly and providing livelihoods for many, contribute to traffic congestion. Poor road conditions, with potholes filled with water during the rainy season and inadequate signage, make travel difficult and dangerous. The lack of pedestrian infrastructure like overpasses and underpasses exacerbates the situation, especially at busy intersections. Despite these infrastructure challenges, the people of Bangladesh continue their vibrant and lively lives. Their extraordinary adaptability serves as an inspiration to visitors and demonstrates the country's potential for development. Improving infrastructure and addressing traffic and energy challenges will be key to Bangladesh's sustainable development and enhancing the quality of life for its people. Number 1. The majority of Bangladeshis are Muslim. Bangladesh is the third largest Muslim-majority country in the world, with over 150 million people, accounting for about 90% of the population. Islam was introduced to Bengal, now Bangladesh, in the 7th century and gradually became the dominant religion in the region. The influence of Islam is evident in the culture, society, and daily life of Bangladeshis. Islamic festivals like Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha are celebrated with great enthusiasm across the country. Islamic architecture also plays a significant role, with many magnificent mosques and temples built throughout the country. Islam plays a crucial role in the spiritual life of the people of Bangladesh. It provides them with faith, moral values, and guidance for life. Islam also plays a vital role in maintaining community cohesion and promoting charitable activities. However, Bangladesh also faces some religious challenges. Discrimination and violence occasionally occur, affecting peace and security in society. Therefore, promoting interfaith dialogue and peace education is extremely important. So we've explored 20 facts about Bangladesh, one of the poorest and dirtiest countries in the world. What are your thoughts on these facts, or do you have any experiences in Bangladesh? Please remember to comment and share your thoughts. Thank you for watching our video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with our latest videos. See you in the next videos.